It is March 18th, 2025, and this is Hungover Hand, right? Chad Hurlbrink. I'm Jonathan Sawyer. Chad, we're coming off a weekend where I imagine you watch the fights with your hands in front of your face yeah. Because all your Contender Series guys lost. So where'd you watch the fights, and how'd you feel about it?
Oh, we were hanging out, a buddy of ours. Went riding bikes and stuff, and got back a little late. Missed a couple of the first prelims. Did miss the girl I was talking about, Eunice Dubin. Man, it's a tough go when you get your head kicked off. So, yeah, a lot of, like you said, those Contender Series guys I was talking about, lost their O's and possibly even their chances of, being in the UFC. So
yeah, and we'll get into all of that on the show today. Of course, we're going to recap the Vettori versus Dolidze UFC event. A couple other events that happened this past weekend that I'll mention. We got some news. We got some fights booked. We got, as always, some rumors and some, Twitter this and hearsay that. We'll talk about.
It's all facts.
All facts. We'll tell you about who got cut this week and last week because we forgot. And then we're going to get into the London card. London's always a banger.
Yeah.
Crowd's always popping.
Yeah, crowd's nuts.
And we'll go through that. And then there's actually a lot of good combat sports stuff this weekend that is not named the UFC.
Yeah, a whole lot.
So we're going to get into that. And I didn't tell you about this beforehand, but I did want to talk about PFL at the end of the show because they've announced all of their tournament brackets and everything, and we haven't talked about really any of it. So. Yeah. They have some, UFC guys, former UFC guys that have signed over there recently. And,
I haven't seen a lot of promotion behind it either.
I mean, it's just on their page where I've seen it, really. I mean, it's on ESPN, but I don't feel like ESPN really cares about it that much.
Very possible.
And they're kind of starting to probably care a little less about the UFC now that we've heard some rumors about what's going on with them and their next deal. But we'll get into all that pretty quick here. So you want to talk about this Dolidze Vettori 2 card?
Yeah, that was obviously it's a fight night card. It's not going to be your banger of a pay-per-view or anything like that we normally see. We did talk a lot about these up and coming contenders and the possibility of being stars, and a lot of them just kind of got that welcome to the UFC kind of welcoming, I guess, for lack of a better term. But like I said, Dubin, I mean, just got her head
first
kicked
of all
off.
This has got to be the first UFC event ever where there's been 2 round 1 knockouts by girls in the first 2 fights.
Yeah, I want to know
and they were both pretty gross too.
Yeah, no, it was disgusting. And I mean, that Carly Judas chick, I mean, looked good. Looked great. Put down Dubin in the head and finished her off.
I think the UFC, obviously, Dubin had the big viral moment that they showed us a million times. So I think the idea here was like, okay, we got to find Dubin the worst girl in the UFC. And I think this was kind of like they saw Carly Judas 3-2, and they probably don't really know who she is that much. And they said, okay, you're probably, maybe she can beat you. Yeah. And then I think Carly Judas is actually better than they probably thought.
Probably.
I personally, I honestly don't remember her debut against, I think it was Gabriela Fernandez. She lost a split decision. I didn't go back and rewatch it before this, but I didn't know much about Judas. Southpaw has hands and obviously can kick too, but like those straight punches, that straight left, Southpaw stance, she lit Dubin up before the head kick. Yeah,
Dubin didn't really have a chance, really, and it's tough because I hope the career's not over there, or at least in the UFC, because you can tell the way she looked in the Contender Series fight. She looked almost like amateur, like she was still almost not taking it seriously or didn't have it. But this time she came in. I mean, she bodied up. Yeah, look good, and it sucks. That's just part of the game they play. It's a fucking.
I just don't know if there's anybody in the UFC that she can beat right now. Unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, even in that division, it's still. Yeah. I don't know, and I hope the best for her. But this Judas, I was impressed.
Yeah,
looks good.
She's a big, tall chick. I mean, like I said, she's a good striker. Now, I didn't watch the Fernandez one. I'm assuming she probably lost a lot based on grappling against Fernandez, who's a grappler. But so that's going to be always an issue for her, I'm assuming. But she's got the striking for sure. She's nasty. Speaking of striking, Priscilla Catch a Beating, as some people call her, Cachoeira, uppercut, Derek Lewis, Curtis Blade style. And it's like, I can't stand Nunes, dude. She's so bad, man. She's so horrible, and she always is ducking that head. I know she's short, I get it, but every time she punches, she's ducking that head and throwing over the top. And Cachoeira, finally 2 minutes and 46 seconds in, figured it out.
Watch some tape, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, she is tiny, Nunes. She is so short for bantamweight.
Yes.
But Cachoeira, she's tough, man. She's always been, I mean, she's a zombie girl. She's a zombie, and she can take a beating. She didn't even need to take one in this fight. So.
No, she came out and did damn thing. Yeah, good for her.
That was gross. All right. Probably my performance of the night, Andre Lima beats Daniel Barras, subs him in the third round, but before that, just beat the shit out of him.
Yeah.
I mean, was ahead at every stop. Muay Thai on point.
Oh yeah, he definitely, he's one of the guys that we talked about, up and comers, and he came and put on the show, did what he was supposed to do, and fighting an actual formidable opponent, Daniel Barras.
I think Barras is solid, but he was just behind. Yeah,
there's levels to this, and I think Lima's going to rise to it. Yes. So. He's definitely somebody to look out for, and I'm excited for him.
11-0. I think people, and I don't have like a list of them off, at hand, but like, I think there's some flyweight prospects that are really good that are coming up right now. I mean, a few weeks ago we saw Rafael Estevam, not nearly as exciting as Lima, but like he's like 12-0 or something too. I mean, there's some guys at flyweight coming up right now that could really make this division actually talked about for once in its life. And Lima's definitely one of them.
Definitely. Yep, I agree. That was a good one.
Another Contender Series girl that the UFC probably was hoping would win lost to Sam Hughes.
Yeah.
Stephanie Luciano is who I'm talking about. Sam Hughes is like a plus 1,000 underdog every time she fights. And I don't know why these bookies keep doing this, because she keeps winning. She just beats these girls that she's supposed to lose to.
I mean, it was a split, but I mean, she's proving the haters wrong. She's showing up. She's tough. She keeps coming right back to it. I mean, even if she takes a good shot, she still steps right back up.
So she was plus 150 in this one. She beat Victoria Dudakova at plus 173. She lost to Yasmin Howergy plus 450. Beat Jacqueline Amorim plus 248. Lost as a plus 155. Won as a plus 115. Won as a plus 210. She lost as plus 315. Lost as plus 340. Lost as plus 505 to Tisha Torres.
Yeah.
She's literally in the UFC never been a favorite. And she's won 5 times. So
battle of the underdog, man. She keeps going.
She pretty much always loses every first round, and then just is able to outlast these chicks. Luciano, I don't really have a great like, here's what she did wrong type thing. I mean, she's a little big and clunky, I think, for this weight class.
Probably. She's I don't know. That one's, I think UFC maybe, probably picking the wrong horse in that race, and maybe after now they're like, hey, maybe we start throwing this chick, and odds makers are going to start looking at her like, okay, it's a little closer than we thought. Yeah. Maybe it's not as pretty as we would like to see, but she's tough. Yeah, she's getting the fucking job done.
Yeah, you gotta shut her off to beat her.
Yeah,
for the most part. I mean, speaking of getting shut off, Carlos Vera beats Josias Musasa. I was talking shit on Vera with the people I was watching the fights with about just being a Ryan Hall leg lock guy, and then he like wheel kick him.
Yep.
And then subbed him. So
yeah,
Musasa, I'm not writing him off completely yet, but he is very green. Like,
yes,
he's not the most skilled guy. He's a fighter. He wants to fight. He's definitely going to need to. Obviously, anybody can get caught, but like he is going to need to clean up the technical side of his game. I think.
I mean, he was definitely the faster guy, the most athletic guy in the octagon at the time, and was even having success against Vera, and Vera caught him. Vera's a Taekwondo guy. Obviously he's black belt. He has that background. That's like his forte.
Yeah. But
he also was a Taekwondo champ, I think, at, I don't know, probably some
Venezuela
gym, whatever,
Colombia, whatever.
There. And I remember him, on Tough and everything. And when I was watching with some other buddies, they were like, oh, "Who is this guy?" And I was like, "I remember on Tough," and he lost on Tough, but I mean, he had some success in the rounds he fought, I believe, if I remember correctly.
He fought Katona in his first fight.
Yeah.
Katona won the season. So, and then he fought Renya Nakamura, who's like a big time prospect the UFC loves.
Yeah, and he's a tough guy because Musasa hit him with some shots.
Yeah.
And he just kept coming, and then he swung this fucking... his kicks aren't even that fast.
No.
It was just pretty good technique, came around and got him perfect.
He's like pretty old, isn't he? 37.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean,
congrats to him. That was awesome, to finally get your first dub in the UFC and all that. And against an up-and-comer like Musasa, a fight that you were supposed to lose. He was there to lose. But, didn't happen.
From one interesting fight where the guy was supposed to lose to a boring fight that the guy was supposed to win, Su Young Yu lays on AJ Cunningham.
Yeah.
I don't blame him necessarily because Cunningham's really tough. And I mentioned on last week's show that he's not going to quit, but he does have an off switch, but he's tough.
Yeah.
And so Su Young Yu took the path of least resistance, but I don't think the UFC loves their road to the UFC winners laying on people.
No, he took him down. Didn't do much. To the point where AJ was getting frustrated, but he was throwing strikes from the bottom and all that, and there wasn't a whole lot of work from Su Young Yu on top, and it really was kind of those fights where you're like, ugh. Especially it could be right after a head kick, club and sub kind of thing. I know how that has an effect on next fights, but yeah, good for him. He got the dub against a tough guy in Cunningham, but that one's, it wasn't like an impressive, just no. you got on him and you didn't do much.
You're supposed to destroy AJ Cunningham. Yeah, really. Pretty much everybody is. So, Waldo Cortez Acosta beats Ryan Spann. We mentioned last week, first fight at heavyweight right here. He looked like the heavyweight.
Yeah.
Waldo looked like the light heavyweight. Waldo was so fast.
Yeah.
And was just cracked him.
Yeah, he it was a weird look for Spann. He had abs, but he was
I thought he looked fine. He wasn't as thick as Waldo, which he kind of in that sense looked like the light heavyweight.
But I thought the way he looked, it was like almost he didn't go do it right. I understand it was a quicker turnaround to go to heavyweight, but I don't know. Waldo's a motherfucker, man. He can crack.
Dude, and that's his striking looked really good. Spann, not he's got power obviously, but he's never been like the most technical striker in the world, and he's kind of you can make him question his desire to be in there.
Oh yeah, and you saw it once he got tagged a couple times. He's like, "Fuck."
But I think Waldo looked really good, especially because he's had I was there in person when he laid on big what's his name, Cuban guy, Robelis to Spain. Yeah. He just took him down, and the crowd hated it and everything. But this made up for it. This is like Waldo's striking is coming around. He's rounding his game.
Could be a dark horse, man, in that division. A division that's very stale right now.
Stale and shallow, and it literally has like 30 fighters in the whole division. So, speaking of not stale, Kevin Vallejos
came out and did what I said he was gonna fucking do.
Yeah,
and took off Wu Choi's fucking head.
Yeah. Called out John Silva.
Yeah, called out, and he's been at it on Twitter, dude.
There's no way they're doing that.
Not right now. No.
You will never get this. You will never get this. La 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 la.
Yeah, maybe not never, but it's gonna be a while until which I think he will. I think he's got star written all over him.
Yeah, they want them both up there at the top.
He's got star written all over him. He talks all the smack, but it's like respectful. It's not even, him trashing on people.
Right.
He's like super thankful all over Twitter, just saying, my life has changed. Gene Silva, where you at? Stuff like that. But he did what he needed to do, and very quick.
Yeah.
Just, he came out and Wu Choi just likes to get hit, and he got hit and sat down very fast.
I think I mentioned this last week. He's one of the most predictable fighters to fight. I mean, he's so bouncy, he bounces in real big, like Drew Dober. I mentioned that again when we were talking about him and John Silva at one point. He does that bounce step, and he just telegraphs stuff bad.
Yeah, it was.
But Lejos did what he was supposed to do.
Yeah, I saw. I believe it was Aljo tweeted that if people don't see the way he fights, it's almost Topuria-esque.
Yeah.
Like the way he ducks his head, moves in,
he
and
slips everything.
Yeah,
underneath everything, and that right hand was just he slipped under the right. Sung Woo Choi's right hand and cracked him over the top. And he was also timing that low kick every time. Every time Sung Woo Choi would throw a low kick naked, blind, he would just right hand, boom.
Yep.
Right as soon as, right in timing. Right when that low kick landed, right hand was landing.
Yeah, and I agree. I think the kid's going to be a star. I think the UFC is probably sees it as well, and they're going to build them up. As long as they play their cards right with them, not throw them up to the wolves.
And I think John Silva's doing him a favor by responding and talking about him and stuff, even though he already beat him and they're probably not going to fight for a while. I think just John Silva responding and people posting it on Instagram and stuff, that's going to be huge for him because John Silva's a rocket ship right now to stardom. So attach yourself to that rocket ship and you're probably headed there too. Speaking of rocket ships not going to stardom, Dr. Nurgozayev. I don't even know if I said that right. There's no V at the end, so definitely not. But you know who I'm talking about.
Yep.
He just that tick is so fucking annoying.
Oh yeah, and they even mentioned it. They were like, he's not hurt. He just touches his eye every 2.5 seconds, and I almost think it's a detriment to him. They just time it.
He wastes so much time doing that you could be doing something in the fight while you're playing with your eye.
Yeah.
It's I don't know. I think
it looks like a problem, and obviously Ribeiro did his thing, and I mean, I thought he was gonna rip his fucking arm off, but finally got him, and there in the second round, I think it was.
I know Ribeiro's had some stinkers in the UFC, and he has had some losses as well, but I actually think I've actually been kind of high on him for a while now, just because he's just his arms are so long.
Yeah,
he has freakishly long arms, and on the Contender Series against Bruno Lopez, who since has been signed to the UFC, Lopez just thought he was out of range, and he just got cracked with it too. I mean, he thought he was normally you'd be far enough away from him, and his arms are so long, and clearly he's got a submission game as well. He's got 7 out of his 17 wins or subs. So I don't know. He's not going to be a champ or anything, but I actually do like Ribeiro. I think he's kind of good. DR on the other hand, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what we got going there other than
he's going to need to wake up in there.
Yeah,
he was half asleep in there in this one, and he kind of was like that on the Contender Series too. He takes his time, big time, and I don't know. It's
sometimes you got to get the ball rolling a little bit quicker than all that.
Yeah. Devon Blackshear, another Kimura.
Yep.
Really dominates this. I mean, the first round was. I mean, Cody Gibson probably won the first round, right?
Yeah, I thought it was close, but you could probably give it to Cody. But you saw what I mean towards the end. The first round ended with Blackshear doing what he was wanting to do, but he didn't have enough time. And then the second round came, and he pretty much spent, most of the time on Gibson's back. And Gibson, he's a tough guy. He's formidable on the ground, but Blackshear's definitely the better athlete.
I think he's just a different level on the mat, especially on top. I mean, he's really nasty on just top game jiu-jitsu player.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Gibson, he even trained for that. Like I said last week, he had a bunch of black belts he was training with, but I don't think you can just squeeze that much in. There's levels to it, and Blackshear showed it.
It's so hard to get up in the UFC.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to be against the fence. If you're out in open space like they were a lot of this fight, you're just not getting up probably. I mean, against a lot of guys in the UFC.
Oh, yeah.
So, I don't know. It sucks for Cody Gibson because he's a journeyman. He's just another guy that, just can't seem to win at this level.
Yeah. Yeah, he was on 2-fight win streak, but
not
when he get to an actual
win streak.
Yeah. Yeah, when he gets to a certain level, he can't hang anymore. And he's older now too, so I don't know what's next for Cody. I know he was on 2-fight skid. I don't know if he gets cut off of that, but it's possible.
Yeah, he was on a 2-fight win streak, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2-fight win streak.
Yeah.
But
probably not, but obviously it's not necessarily about who you lost to. It's just timing.
Yeah.
So you never know, but I think he's probably okay for another one.
Yeah, I'd say.
A guy who's probably not okay is Kurt Hollabaugh. He's literally 2-6 in the UFC now.
Yeah.
But it's like he can win these fights.
Oh, yeah, he could.
He just can't stop getting taken down.
He could not. And once Hernandez decided we're going to shoot takedowns and take you down, that's when the fight was won. Once you realize, okay, maybe this guy is better than me standing up, I'm just going to take him down, and then Hollabaugh couldn't do anything.
Yeah, and I basically laid this out for you, the listener, last week. Like, Hollabaugh's going to go forward and try to bully Hernandez. Hernandez can be bullied. Mm-hmm. We've seen it a million times. But will Hernandez be able to take Hollabaugh down off that pressure? That's going to decide it.
Yeah.
And he could.
Yep.
So.
Yep, and he did it, and Hollabaugh had no answer for it. Could not get up. Hernandez was, trying to pummel him on the ground and all that. Especially, he spent the entire third round on his back.
Yeah. And
Hollabaugh's a black belt, but, so is everybody else in the UFC pretty much. So,
yeah.
Unless you're, there's only a few guys off their back that are just elite.
Yeah.
And, I don't know, Kurt. I hope not, but it's not looking good.
Yeah. Well, looking good. Chidi and Njokuani. You called this one. Zaleski just basically walked right into that clinch over and over.
Oh, yeah.
And got kneed to death.
Oh, yeah. That left knee coming up just smoked his ass.
Yeah.
I hate Chidi missed weight and everything like that, but...
Oh, yeah, we didn't mention any of that, did we?
No, there's a couple guys that had missed weight, but...
DR Nergozai missed by 4.5 pounds.
Yeah, that's...
And who was the other one?
Musasa. Musasa.
Yeah, it was not that much. So, and then Chidi.
Yeah, so, I think he missed by 1.5 pounds or something like that. Which is it's frustrating. Obviously, as me being the fat slob that I am, saying getting frustrated somebody can't make weight.
Yeah, well, you're not in the UFC.
True. I see other fighters and they're like, it's all about. That's your job, man. That's professionalism. You gotta make that weight. You gotta cut it, and there's got to be probably stiffer punishments because some people, or some fighters, I should say, are almost okay with it. Okay, I lose 10% or whatever my purse. Yeah,
it's not worth it to just kill yourself if you know you're not going to make it.
Yeah,
but the pound and a half or half pound. I'm not as mad about that because they at least had to work pretty hard to get down there and put in close to the same amount of work as the other guy. The 4.5 pounds by Nergozai, who's chunky anyways.
Yeah.
He looked chunky.
That was
ridiculous. And then he got, karma,
Exactly. And I've heard arguments about the closer you are, I know that probably that last pound and a half is probably hard, but a lot of fighters, when they were I saw people tweeting about people missing and stuff saying, You're already there. Just push through it. You can do it. Kill yourself for it. Whatever you got to do.
Why don't we do like a punishment scale, like within a pound, 10%, 2, 20, 30, 40. So if you miss by 4.5 pounds, it's like 45% of your purse. True.
Yeah, I mean, fuck, that would get some people to.
Yeah, so Nergozai would be making like $500 on this fight because this is his debut.
Yeah. So I mean, there's got to be something. They've talked about it. I've seen some people say that it should be like -1 point on the fight.
That's interesting.
Like that. Yeah. That could be a thing, you know.
But it's like, can you just do like just a flat rate? Like you miss by 4.5 or you miss by 1. It's both a point. Like I feel like that's not really fair.
True, or maybe do the 1 point if it's an egregious amount, like 4.5 or something like that.
Yeah.
Because if you miss by 5 pounds, 4.5 pounds, you just weren't doing what you were supposed to do.
Try. I mean, and I mean this wasn't short notice for DR.
No.
So I mean, he had a camp. Like he knew this was happening.
That's just, you just weren't doing what you were supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating too on your debut.
Yeah.
Like, people just shit away an opportunity like that. Why not come in and bust your ass?
See, and I mean, Musasa too. Like, I feel like, I don't know exactly what it is, but I feel like sometimes, like, we see probably a higher number of debutantes missing weight than anybody else, probably. Yeah. Because I don't know if it's...
And I could understand if it is a short notice fight or something like that. But also, I still think that if you are in that range of you're about to be called up, you're close. Like those fighters that are in the lower regions, regional level, that are undefeated and all that, or they just won on the Contender Series.
Mm-hmm.
You almost have to always be ready for that call.
Oh yeah.
So why push it? I mean, especially when you're in this business, this is what you want to do. Why wouldn't you always be ready, or not get to? You can't just not everybody's a Patty Pimblett that can blow up 45 fucking pounds and lose it no problem and have that willpower to do
also, if you're under the UFC banner, you have more resources than any other fighter on the planet.
Oh, exactly.
They'll make your food for you.
Yeah, they'll do it all for you, and I mean, literally gift basket.
And they don't all like live in Vegas and stuff, but like I'm pretty sure you can like talk to nutritionists at any time.
Yes.
Like,
if you are under I'm pretty sure. And I think, like, I don't know if it's true, but all the like supplements and stuff, if you were under, it's all provided.
Yeah. Yeah. And they can make a meal plan with you. They have people 24 hours a day, I'm pretty sure, at the PI doing that. So,
and if that's at your grasp, why not use it? Yeah. That's to me, if you miss something by egregious, that's you making choices.
That's the 4.5 pounds. That's what makes it completely ridiculous. Yeah. I can forgive 1.5 somewhat, but 4.5 is insane.
Yeah.
And they're probably going to match him up hard next, and then they're going to say, see ya.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. We'll
especially
see.
You come out like that, and
You just annoy all the fans with wiping your eye the whole time. Like, get him out. All right, main event rematch: Marvin Vettori, Roman Dolidze. It kind of, they just picked up where they left off,
essentially.
But Vettori got tired. I mean, that layoff kind of seemed to, I don't know, cardio was kind of different.
Yeah, he did. And to fight where he was on his way to, he could have won him. He had him hurt real bad. Yeah. If he had the gas tank, maybe that would have done something. But Dolidze caught a second wind and proceeded to win the rest of the rounds.
They're both kind of one-trick ponies, but Vettori more so, I think. I mean, he just cannot seem to make adjustments. You know, he just does the same stuff over and over. And this, I mean, he spent, other than one punch, he spent 5 rounds just doing the same stuff, getting countered. I mean, the weird thing is Dolidze, like, he doesn't even move. He'll just stand right in front of you, and you just throw, and he'll just get the guard up. He'll let Vettori touch his hands a few times, and it'll fire back and crack him.
Yep.
It's like,
I mean, if you look at their faces, Dolidze probably, I mean, and asked who won the fight, you probably think Vettori won.
Yeah. But a lot of and they just kept fucking headbutting each other over and over too. Like, I think that big thing over Dolidze's eye was like from a headbutt.
Oh yeah, and then I think Vettori got kicked in the dick or punched in the dick a couple times.
Yeah.
It wasn't the most exciting fight. Dolidze came back. He showed some grit, and did his thing. Got the dub. I believe he called out Adesanya and Whitaker.
Yeah.
So
and Whitaker has already said no. He said he's not. It doesn't do anything for him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that Dolidze, is that right? Or is this not updated yet? Down 1. There's no way.
Really?
This is probably not updated yet. We're for a little inside baseball here. We're recording this on Monday, so coming out on Tuesday. But as of now, Dolidze's at 12 still, and Vettori's at 8. I'm assuming they're going to switch.
Yeah.
But yeah, Whitaker and fighting Dolidze. I mean, I don't know what that even does for you, other than the fact that Whitaker is he's already fought like everybody else.
Yeah.
But Dolidze, I just can't figure this guy out, man. I don't really. I feel like a guy that, like most ranked UFC fighters, I'm like, okay, I know like what they're good at, and like I have an idea, at least in my opinion, who they will beat and who they won't beat. But Dolidze, I just can't ever figure out his style, really.
Yeah.
Like he's like a grappler, but he just stands there and throws like overhands, but like wins. He looks tired, but he isn't. Like it's weird.
Yeah, it's I couldn't put a finger on it either. I don't think Dolidze is going to get up there with the big dogs and really do much. He's probably going to be your middle of the pack guy and probably stay around there. And I mean, I don't see him getting past.
I mean,
maybe Cannonier.
He's got to fight Cannonier next, right? I mean, they haven't fought yet.
Yeah, but I don't see him getting past anybody else.
I mean, that would be 7 versus 8. I don't even think he's getting a chance. At least not next at Baralho, Whitaker, Izzy, Khamzat, Strickland, Imavov. Yeah.
The way it's playing out now, Baralho, he's not getting it. He's not touching
Fluffy
Baralho.
Hernandez and Roman Dolidze?
Maybe.
I think Dolidze is going to be puking by the end of round 2.
That's not going to be a good time for Dolidze, I don't think. I could see that, and then that's just another notch in Fluffy's belt and pushes him further to the top.
That's got to be the winner of that's got to definitely get
for sure
a big fight after that. But all right, what else on this? Anything else?
No, that was it. I mean, good card. It was fun seeing other fighters get their chance at on the big screen.
Yeah.
Some of them obviously didn't live up to the.
Yeah, not the best night for the UFC, really. I mean, they're never going to tell you like we want this person to win, but like we know some of the people they probably were hoping would win secretly.
We got a pretty good idea just based off of matchups on what they want.
Yeah, and not a great night for the Contender Series, but I mean they signed 4 or 5 fighters every week, so we got a bunch more that we got to get to at some point that haven't even debuted yet. But okay, that's it for that one. Just 2 other events I want to touch on this weekend. There were some big names that fought in other organizations. Fury or CFFC 140. This is like a pretty big promotion in the Northeast. It was in Philly. This event was in Philly. Yaroslav Amosov fought Curtis Millender, who if you guys didn't listen to last week's show, Amosov, he was the Bellator champ, fought in the Ukraine war. He was 27-0, and he lost in his last fight for his title. He got knocked out by Jason Jackson, who's kind of a monster nowadays.
Yeah.
It's like every year older he gets, the better he gets. But this is Amosov's first fight back since then, and he fought Curtis Millender, who what did I say? He was like 3-3 in the UFC, 3-1 in PFL, 3-0 in Bellator or something.
All the promotions.
And it went. I mean, it went kind of like how I think most people thought. Amosov took him down, and easily Anaconda choked him. I mean, it was easy. So I don't know, Amosov. We've talked about this a whole different can of worms. But like we've heard Patchy Mix complaining about PFL. We've seen Gegard ask for a release from the PFL. I feel like there's somebody else I'm missing that's been complaining recently too. And a Pitbull's obviously left, but these are guys that were Bellator fighters that were obviously acquired by PFL in them buying Bellator that have not been happy with PFL. Did they just like release him immediately?
Maybe, or depending on what his contract was.
He's 28-1.
Yeah.
He's a former champ.
Yeah, that's I don't see how he's not going to the UFC.
I don't even know how he got to this point right here, where he's fighting at CFFC.
Yeah, that's
he needs to be in the UFC right now.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because I don't know if it's a possibility. Maybe he still is under contract, and he's like, "Can I just fight under this?"
Yeah,
because it's Cage Fury and not a bigger promotion. Yeah.
I mean, I'm assuming he's been released, and I'm assuming it was probably money. But again, we've seen them hold on to these guys, Patchy Mix, and until they're like furious with them. So it's just weird that he's just bounced out of there super quick. I'm sure there's, if you know the story, listener, of when and why he's out of PFL/Bellator, put it in the comments, let us know. But I'm not 100% sure what happened there or why he's not in the UFC. But last thing on this one, the vacant lightweight title, Jesse Roberts beats Omar Rizgoyev. I think, didn't I say somebody he fought that was interesting? No. I don't know what I said something about him last week, but I don't remember what now.
Scrabble board just thrown on the ground with a bunch of those names.
Yeah. Other than that, so Tough Enough. This is the last one we're gonna mention here. Diego Brandao, who we talked about, he's 29-22 before this fight. He went over to ACA in Russia. I'm sure fought a bunch of killers. I don't know who any of them are.
Yeah.
Lost 6 in a row over there. And then since leaving ACA, has won 4 of his last 6. And he beats the champ, Jamie Siraj, in Tough Enough by wheel kick / ground and pound in the first round to win the featherweight title in Tough Enough.
Yeah.
He's 30-22 now.
Yeah. He came out and said, I'll fight in the UFC for $1.
Yeah.
Don't care. He's like, what? I don't care. What did he say?
We're going to talk about somebody else who is from before his era that's back in the UFC. So, that makes this make more sense if he were to come back.
Yeah, he was saying, I need to go back to the UFC. I'm tired of fighting in Russia, and I'm pretty much saying that he's like, I got my mental back. I'm ready.
Yeah.
Ready for it. So we'll see. But
I don't think the juice is worth the squeeze with Brandao in the UFC. I mean,
I think he had his moment and he lived it out and did his thing and fought some killers. And
other than that, on this card, this Kanan Kawahai guy that I mentioned last week, he's 0-2 in the contender series, and I believe it was against 2 good guys. I can't not remember off the top of my head now. He lost to Chase Hooper and Jonas Bilharino. I'm not exactly sure who Jonas Bilharino is.
He got wheel kicked. Chase
Hooper was the first one, though. He won on this Tough Enough card. Round 1 face crank.
Ouch.
And then UFC vet, I think literally only 1, maybe 2 fights. Josh Weems, he got Darce choked on this card as well. So that's it for the major events or the noteworthy events from this past weekend.
I thought there was we had one more.
I had some other ones, but
there was the one kid. I think he was begging the UFC to sign him. I think he's based out of London or.
Oh, Cage Warriors.
Was it Cage Warriors?
Yeah. It was. No, I know who you're talking. Leah, or what's his name? I know who you're talking about, though.
Yeah, I can't remember his name.
Oh wait, it's down here. Liam, is it Riley?
Yeah, I think Riley.
Luke Riley. Yeah, he's 11-0. So I should have put this one on there, but he fought in the contender series against. Am I making that up? No, he was supposed to fight in the contender series against Vallejos. That's what it was.
Okay.
When that red-haired guy stepped in there against Vallejos from like Alabama or whatever.
Yeah.
That was supposed to be this Luke Riley kid and it was a visa issue.
That's what it was. Yeah. Yes.
So good call. Cage Warriors 185. He wins in the main event, second round TKO.
That guy, He's one of those guys who has it at least on the mic. He's
25 years old,
young. He could be something too. So he was saying, UFC, call me now, I'm ready.
Yeah,
all that stuff, and it was great. Especially, I mean, he did a great promo, got on there, and sold himself, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's getting a call.
Yeah, I mean, the UFC, we'll talk about this too, but they go to London once a year. At least once a year, they go to England. So he obviously doesn't have to fight over there, but every year he's going to have an opportunity
for sure
to debut or fight in that part of the world. So, all right, news, you ready?
I'm ready.
Well, so we mentioned this. I think we mentioned this as like a rumor, but Bo Nickel is fighting Rainer de Ritter at UFC Des Moines May 3rd. Weird. It feels like it's super weird that they're putting them on this card. This should be on a pay-per-view.
Yeah,
probably.
It is. Yeah, I don't know. That's maybe they were like, man, we got to fill this Des Moines card up or something.
I mean, it's pretty stacked. It's really good actually. The main event's obviously Fig and Sandhagen, but we're gonna be there in Kansas City the week before this, and I'm thinking, can we switch cards, please?
Yeah.
I mean, this Des Moines card: Sandhagen, Fig, Marina Rodriguez, Julian Robertson, Pons, D-Rod, Misha Tate, Cheeto, Mario Batista, Montel Jackson, Marcos, DeRitter, Bo Nickel. They're on the prelims as of now. That could change.
No, it says main card there, I think.
Oh yeah, it does.
Yeah, but still, they're the bottom half of that main card. Maybe that's why they threw it on there.
Trevor Peak, Junior Taffa, and then the next news story we're going to talk about, also on the UFC Des Moines card, Jeremy Stevens.
Yep.
Coming back to the UFC and fighting Mason Jones, who Mason Jones is also coming back to the UFC because he's been released in the past as well. Mason Jones is 12-0 in Cage Warriors. That is crazy. I did not know that. Yeah, so Mason Jones, he beat David Onama. Oh wait, so he had a few fights. Lost to Mike Davis, no contest. Alan Patrick beat David Onama, which is hard to do. Lost a decision to Ludovic Klein and then got released.
And notice all of those wins or losses were decisions.
Yeah.
And then that could have been the factor in why he got cut.
Right.
And then all of a sudden he started fighting, and look at all his finishes.
Yeah, 3 of his last 4 fights were TKOs. So they brought him back. He's fighting Jeremy Stevens. I guess Jeremy's probably going to be a tough out still, but I don't really like his chances in the UFC anymore.
Oh yeah, maybe against Mason, yes.
Yeah.
But I don't know what's next. I saw an interview him talking about UFC reached out and all that stuff, and he said I could have made a bag, but I bet on myself. He said I could have made a bag and just got a flat rate, or I do the win and show money now. So he said I bet on myself and I'm going on the win, show and win money.
Well, I guess
so maybe
good
it was
on you
higher,
for betting on yourself, but
yeah. Coming off that big BKFC fight against Alvarez.
I can't believe that he didn't just take the bag there.
True. Unless he just realized
that's a bigger bag, probably.
Probably, yeah. I'd say, per fight, for sure. And then obviously sponsors and shit like that.
And he's going to be main eventing, at least while he's got this belt. Or was it for a title? Or is it just a clout deal?
Yeah.
Still, though, the clout alone of who Jeremy Stevens is will keep him, making pretty good money over there. I would assume. I guess I could be wrong. Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. Johnny Walker versus Azamat Mirzakhanov, UFC Qatar, May 17th.
Oh, Johnny,
I really
keep Johnny out of the desert.
Well, yeah, I think Mirzakhanov is really good.
Yeah,
he's going to be 6 feet shorter than Johnny Walker in this, but I still think he's probably going to knock him out.
Yeah,
Johnny's getting to be a little too chinny for my liking these days.
Mm-hmm.
And Mirzakhanov, last time out, didn't he knock out Minifield?
Yes.
So, he's good. And then there's a couple on this. Talked about DeRitter, Bo Nickel. this Curtis Blades Rizvan Kuniev fight. The UFC is they've just stuck with this thing for like 3 cancellations now. This thing has
like,
been
damn
on
it, we're
every
gonna make
card
it happen
this year. It's been on there. Has never happened. They're moving it to the May 17th fight night. I'm assuming that's Apex.
Yeah.
So that sucks. But you know, I don't know. People probably know this Kuniev guy. They've probably seen some posts about him. But like, he literally fought in, I think, PFL.
Mm-hmm.
He beat that Renan Ferreira guy who fought Francis. Failed for like every steroid on the planet. Yeah. It was no contest. And then the UFC bring him in. He wins in the Contender Series, and then they just book him against Blades immediately, who's like top 10. So it's really weird. I don't know what.
That's probably the UFC's like, hey, you could be something because you did beat Ferreira, but let's lay off the roids.
I think, do they just want any heavyweight with any story, good or bad? Is that kind of where they're at now?
I think with the way that division is.
Greg Hardy.
Yeah.
This guy.
We need some controversy to get that, notoriety in that heavyweight. Because it's, right now, the heavyweight division's just
it's tough.
Yeah. So stale. Just not
very
moving,
top heavy.
Just dead.
Blades has been training for this guy that he's never even heard of for like four fight camps now. So that's crazy. Tanara Lisboa and Luana Santos also booked on that May 17th card. Luana Santos, she's cute.
Lisboa looks like Brazilian Christina Ricci.
Who's that?
Christina Ricci. She's been? You ever seen Black Snake Moan with Samuel L. Jackson? She's the fucking meth head.
Movies are that I probably haven't seen.
Casper the Friendly Ghost.
Okay, I've seen the cartoon.
Not the live action one from like the 90s?
I don't think so.
Fuck, John. Man,
I'll look her up.
We got to get you to watch some movies.
She's in the UFC now.
She's been in a ton
I care
of
about
movies, her. But yeah, I think she. Comment. Let me know if I'm correct. She kind of looks like Christina Ricci.
Tanira Lisboa. That's who we're talking about. If you want to go look her up. Robbie Lawler back in the testing pool.
I thought that was weird, but I saw.
Watch it be like Power Slap or something.
God, you imagine going against Robbie Lawler in Power Slap?
I would be scared.
Yeah,
but I mean, he's had some wear and tear on his chin, so I don't know.
I mean, who could he possibly? I mean, they just announced his retirement a week ago, or not his retirement, but they just gave him a Hall of Fame video a week or two ago.
Yeah.
Who could it be? Could it be?
I mean, it's got to be well, I was going to say it's got to be like a name, a vet, but we know how the UFC is. They're like, you're coming back and you're old and you're a legend? Yeah. Okay, well, here's a guy nobody's ever heard of.
Yeah.
And we want them to hear about him now.
Mm-hmm. Very possible. It could be. I'm trying to see.
I figured he would be.
That was at 170, right?
Yeah. I figured he wouldn't be the type of guy that'd be like back and retire. But a lot of guys do that. So
yeah, I thought he'd be, just doing the coaching thing.
Yeah, he's cornering a lot of people. I see him cornering people all the time.
I don't know. It's wild. Maybe
I don't want to see it.
I don't either. I hate to see legends, come back. Some of them have success, like an Aldo or something like that. But
yeah,
you retired perfectly, like how every person would probably want to retire and knocking someone out. And then had, the love
video,
and all that shit. That's the best way to go out, and I'd hate for him to come back.
Aldo should be the reason why he shouldn't come back. I mean, it's like they literally booked him against Batista, Martinez, and
fight these killers now.
Ayman Zahabi.
Yeah.
Like that should be like, okay, let's not come back. Let's go to GFL or something. So we've been hearing about this Islam Makhachev, Ilya. Are they fighting? Are they not? Apparently, Islam turned the fight down because he wants Ilya to fight at least once and win a fight at lightweight, as if he doesn't deserve it, which is the most ridiculous thing in the world to me.
Yeah,
he knocked out Max Holloway and Volk.
back to back.
Like that.
Which a lot of people could argue that's some people. I'm not saying I do necessarily agree with it, but some say those 2 knockouts back to back are arguably better than what Islam has done.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. I thought you were gonna say Prayer because the fighter of the year.
Oh, yeah. And fighter of the year.
I thought Ilya should have been fighter of the year. Honestly, I thought his 2 wins were better than Prayer's 3. But yeah, no. I mean, you're right. It's like weight class 145, whatever. He beat like the 2 goats back to back, knocked him out. Yeah. So he deserves to fight for the belt at 55. I don't love how this works all the time, where we'll just super fight champs, whoever they are. But now it's like they're playing hardball. They're like we could set up a super fight with anybody back in the day, and now it's like nope, you got to earn it. But now Ilya's like beat 2 goats in a row.
Yeah,
it's like that's earning.
And then I saw the talks of if it's Ilya does have to fight somebody, there talks of maybe him and Charles or somebody around that area. I know we talked about maybe Gaethje or something, but fuck, Gaethje's he's fought everybody there. Sure, he got knocked out by Max, but then he come out and took the short notice fight and beat the brakes off of Fiziev, and he's the only one around that the top there that hasn't fought Makhachev.
I'm okay with Gaethje getting the shot, but like if we're talking dollars and cents, like there's no way the UFC thinks that Gaethje getting the shot is going to make more money than Topuria.
Yeah, I agree.
That's what I'm like, Islam. I don't know what he's really thinking here. Like money versus deserve. Now, I wish guys would do the deserve more often than the money, but they don't, and they shouldn't really. So it's like you did a super fight with Volk. So what's wrong with another super fight where you're going to make a lot of money?
Maybe Islam thinks of it as Volk was deserving because he cleared out that division.
Yeah, I mean, I get that. I don't know. I think it's ridiculous. I mean, it's like that would be the biggest fight.
Oh yeah, definitely. I agree with you.
But we know Islam. He doesn't really love to fight. He likes to sit around. And wait. So that might be timing's probably part of it. I'm sure. If he was ready to fight, wanted to fight, he may have taken the fight. Speaking of guys that do like to fight and we're already, I mean, this is kind of rumor somewhat, but like we're already talking Ankalaev versus Pereira 2, UFC 319 Abu Dhabi. That's a turnaround. We know Pereira, he does the turnarounds. Ankalaev, he's had some layoffs, but I like the fact that he's willing to do it quick and
he's coming, closer to home. So defend the belt on his side of the map.
Right. And again, that's a rumor. We don't really know if that's 100% happening or not. But I thought this was weird. Ankalaev is the first Russian to win the belt by beating an actual title holder. And what that means is Khabib won the belt initially. The belt was vacant. Peter Yan won the belt initially. The belt was vacant. When Islam won the belt was vacant.
Oh.
So Ankalaev is the first Russian, apparently, according to this graphic. If you guys fact check me on this and it's wrong, let me know in the comments. It very well could be, but according to this, Ankalaev is the first person to actually beat a champion to win the belt initially.
That's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Props to him. That's
yeah.
that's a weird stat.
Yeah, not that it's. I mean, I think it doesn't really take anything away from Khabib or Yan or Islam, but it's just weird. You don't,
especially with those guys that have been at the top and have the belts and all that. You'd think that wouldn't be a thing, but
yeah,
that's kind of cool.
Speaking of title fight rematches, I guess we're doing Merab and Sean 2, UFC 316. That's it is surprising and it's not surprising to me. It is surprising because I've mentioned this before. It's like if Sean loses to Merab twice back to back, and Merab holds the belt for a while, that really hurts Sean.
Yeah.
Like ever getting another title shot, or at least not relatively soon. I don't know why they don't kind of give Sean like a little tune up. Maybe they'll drop him down a little bit.
Yeah.
Get him back on track. He's young,
but that tune up, how much do you who would be that tune up? Because
right.
There's people waiting in limbo, like a Sandhagen, Jan is around there.
Yeah, and before we get to that, the reason I'm not surprised is because the UFC likes money now.
Yes.
And that's what this whole Ilya Islam thing is so weird because of this. I mean, they're running this back immediately. They like the money now. But yeah, to answer your question, I mean, I think it probably should be Merab and Jan fighting for the belt. Umar's there. I don't know. I mean, that's another guy that the UFC may want to keep away from Sean.
Maybe, yeah.
But like Sandhagen and Fig are fighting in May. Song Yadong just won.
Mm-hmm.
I think that Sandhagen Fig winner would be really fun. Song Yadong would be fun.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
And and Dana said we're not doing Song Henry rematch. We're not doing it. Pretty much.
Yeah.
So, but
I it could be a little hardball with Sean saying, I need that rematch. Him saying, I need the rematch because he is a big money pool.
Yeah. And
obviously, Merab's a pretty big money pool himself. I don't know if he's necessarily as big as Sean was, but he's a champ, and Merab's, down to do it. So
for the two guys involved in the fight, I understand it. Sean, he's not going to say, yeah, I don't want to fight for the belt.
Yeah.
Like, he's going to fight for the belt. Merab's going to fight the big name who, let's be honest, stylistically is a good matchup for him. As opposed to, Umar, he already beat him.
Yeah.
Tough matchup for him. He's beat Jan, but still, those are probably tougher matchups for him. But I don't know. It's interesting. And also on this post, it says Kaikar France versus Pantoja title fight is unclear as to what's going to happen to that, because if they're adding Sean and Merab, it's going to be that main event, and it's going to be Kayla Harrison, Juliana Pena co-main. So, and they're probably not going to do 3 title fights on it.
Yeah.
So unclear not even officially O'Malley versus Merab yet, but if that happens, unclear what's going to happen with Kaikar France versus Pantoja for the belt. They'll have to move that one to a different card. But just last couple things here. I mean, I thought this was interesting. All the male UFC title holders combined have not lost since 2021,
except for what just happened with Pereira.
No, but current title holders.
Oh, current.
So like Ankalaev.
Okay. So, yeah. Okay.
And they're 54-0. Basically every male title holder combined, they've won 54 in a row.
Wow.
Which is crazy. I mean, I guess that means that the rightful guys probably have the belts right now. The guys are on win streaks, and
yeah.
But I thought that was interesting.
That's it's crazy though. I mean, it's letting you know, like you said, maybe the guys at the top are the guys that should be there. And
I think Ankalaev kind of proved to me that the UFC is willing to give the guy who's not the most, liked person, but probably is the most deserving person, the title shot.
Yeah.
And I like that. I think that's the way it should be.
Bullshit! It's a lie from Satan!
Bryce Mitchell hasn't slept in weeks, and it's all John Silva's fault.
I guess, man. He's John Silva, Lord of the Demons, I guess. It's Bryce is out there, man.
I mean, I'm not gonna play the video or anything, but I mean, basically, he said, what was it? Legion. His dream is he's a legion of demons coming at him, and in hot girls.
Yeah, he said that he is preying on him. What he says, word for word in the video, he's preying on his two biggest weaknesses, and that's him fighting, which
rage.
Rage.
Yeah.
Rage and lust.
Yeah.
So the first couple dreams were like demons provoking him to fight, And then the second couple, stint of dreams was beautiful women trying to cheat on his wife.
And by the way, he said that it literally started the night, like the press conference happened, and then that night it started, according to Bryce Mitchell.
Yeah.
He said this has been going on since the day before the press conference.
And this just tells me he is literally in your head.
That's what I was gonna say. Do you get any more in someone's head? I mean,
when you're sicking demons on people, and Bryce, you're a great fighter and all that, and I don't know you from Adam other than your profession, but man, Emmett did some work on the brain.
Yeah,
and it's kind of crazy. I don't know if we got some CTE or going on here or what. But
there's some of that for sure. I mean, I'm not a doctor, but I'd say that's definitely at play. But I think he's just a different guy. Like, he's just a different person.
Yeah, he's kind of a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
Yeah. All right, last news story.
I try so hard, can't seem to get away from
We had a few fighters cut, 2 fighters cut this past week, and then we actually forgot to mention 2 last week. But the ones this week, Armen Petrosian and Landon Quinones. Petrosian, he's coming off the double back fist, and then he got submitted by Ferreira, the Hulk. You can lose to worse guys than that.
True.
I mean, I don't. He's not the most exciting guy. I think when we were talking about that fight, we kind of talked about how Petrosian just runs around and touches you.
Yeah. And the UFC is starting to pick up on that type of shit. The way you fight, not just who you lose to or the fashion you necessarily lose, but also they take into account of how you fight. And Petrosian, he's kind of a get on your bike kind of guy and doesn't want to necessarily engage. And when he does engage, he's probably getting his block knocked off, his beak.
Yeah. Landon Quinones also got cut. He was 0-2 in the UFC. Obviously, if you remember, he was on The Ultimate Fighter. Lost to Jason Knight, 55-second triangle.
Yeah.
That's not a good look to start. And then has 2 UFC fights, both unanimous decision losses. Nasrat Haqparast and Markel Medeiros. I mean, you can do worse than Haqparast for sure.
Yeah, and he toughed it out. They were decisions. Those fights, he's a tough guy. He could take a hit, but I think I don't know, just didn't get the cards didn't really flow his way, and just
it's the Ultimate Fighter guys have the shortest leash of all time. I mean, it's like you better not lose a fight ever because we will probably cut you if you start not too good. And the 2 we didn't mention last week, which we actually the week before we told you that they were going to be on here.
Yeah,
it was Andrea Lee and Julian Marquez. Andrea Lee has lost 6 in a row.
Yeah, the writing was on the wall for that one.
Julian Marquez has been finished 3 times in a row.
Yeah.
So
unfortunate, but that's, again, like I said earlier, it's the game we play.
Yeah. All right, you ready to get into this coming weekend's UFC card?
I am. I'm excited.
So I wanted to, before we get into this, I went through the cards that have happened in England since COVID, because we're basically for a couple of years, they were on a 2 event per year in England, like the first couple of years after COVID. Now we're down to 1, but it's every year they do 1 event in England right now.
Okay.
Now, there's 2, 4, 6 events since COVID now, and I'm including the one that got canceled due to COVID in here. They've been headlined by 2 guys every event. Not the same 2 guys, but you know what I'm saying. Two guys have had that was supposed to headline the one that got canceled, Leon Edwards and Tyron Woodley. And then we go, this was March 19th, 2022, Alexander Volkov, Tom Aspinall. And then we go July 23rd, 2022, Curtis Blades, Tom Aspinall. March 18th, 2023, Leon Edwards and Kamaru Usman 3. This is the second iteration of their title fight.
Yeah.
And then we go back to Aspinall, July 22nd, 2023. And then last year, they only went there once, and it was Leon Edwards and Bilal Muhammad.
Oh yeah, I fought at a weird time, and that's why I fought like shit.
And now we're back to Leon again.
Yep.
So it's either Tom or Leon. That's who's headlining your cards in England. And I just wanted to shout out the first event in England in UFC history.
Wow.
UFC 38 Brawl at the Hall, and it was Matt Hughes and Carlos Newton. But this wasn't. Was this a slam?
That was the slam.
It was? Okay.
I think because they only fought once, right?
I don't know, honestly.
Because he was in a triangle.
Slammed him.
And he passed out, like it was choked out, and knocked out Carlos Newton and woke up, and they were like, hey, you won.
It says TKO punches, but I guess that he slammed him and then punched him, so I guess...
Yeah, maybe. I don't remember him throwing a punch. He, like, knocked him out, and Carlos's legs, like, opened up.
Let's go figure this out.
Unless they fought multiple times.
I mean, that's very possible. I don't have my UFC 30s era memorized.
Oh, he did fight him twice.
Okay, so the slam was UFC
time.
34. This was the second time they fought.
Okay, so he wanted to solidify it because there was probably talk, oh, I had you out.
Yeah.
You passed out.
Now, this card's interesting. This UFC 38, again, first card in England. Frank Mir lost on this card in the co-main event. He was 4-0 going into this fight, and he lost. That was his first loss, and it was a TKO. I mean, what's Frank Mir now? Like 19-13. He was 4-0 during this card. Other than that, I don't really think there's. I mean, Evan Tanner was the first fight of the night.
Yeah.
But so I just wanted to highlight the fact that they were doing two cards a year from, I think, 22, 23, and now we're to one. All Aspinall or Leon headlining every card.
I guess that's all you can do. I mean, if it's working, and it probably has to do with, Leon, I want to fight in London, don't have to move or, travel anywhere and all that stuff. But
well, I mean, obviously when he won the belt, it was like, okay, we got a reason to put him in
for sure
in England and have a huge crowd. But that's one thing about this card and this crowd in general. They always are loud and rowdy, and it's always I love these cards in England because the crowd is so loud.
Oh yeah.
We each got a prelim storyline as always. I guess I'll go first because mine's the first fight of the night. So I wanted to highlight Guram Kutatalladze because this guy, he is kind of at this point almost like a full-time coach / training partner for some of the best fighters on the planet, and like a part-time fighter. So he's real tight with the Toporias. He's from Georgia.
He's the Georgian Viking.
The Georgian Viking, you know. He's real tight with the Toporias. He trains with them a lot. He's tight with Marab, but he's actually I think his main training partner. He trains with Khamzat all the time.
Damn.
So he's kind of been getting these guys ready more than fighting himself, it seems like. I mean, literally his debut was October of 2020, and this will be his 5th fight in the UFC.
Yeah, he beat Gamrot.
Yeah, and that debut was against Gamrot. But just, I mean, his 5th calendar year in the UFC, this will be his 5th fight. So he's not the most active guy in the world.
Holy cancellations.
Yeah, and that too. The bookies, one thing I wanted to talk about is the bookies cannot figure this guy out at all. 2020, he makes his debut against Gamrot, and he is a plus 230 dog. Makes sense. Gamrot, even in 2020, was a good fighter. He beats him by a split. Beats Gamrot. 2 canceled fights against Don Madge. And then he goes in this Damir Ismagulov fight as a plus 190. They make him a dog again after literally a year and a half layoff. And he loses a split in that one. And in Elvis Brenner, this is the real worrying one. They make him minus 550 against Elvis Brenner. And he gets TKO'd in the 3rd round by Elvis Brenner. And then they make him a slight favorite against Jordan Vucinic, who was coming in short notice to fight him, minus 181. And he beats him by a decision, close fight. And now he's back at the minus 450. So
Yeah,
I mean,
they can't figure.
and he's been very inconsistent. I mean, I feel like this Jordan Vucinic fight, and we'll talk about him later too, he looked so... I mean, I say half asleep all the time with these guys. Leon, a lot of guys. He was half asleep in the first round and finally woke up and squeaked it out. But I don't know. It's just interesting that he's not that active. He trains with all the best guys in the world. The Taporias, Kamzat. He's out of the All-Stars in Sweden. It's a big gym out there. Gus was out of there. But he's always had a lot of hype, it seems like, and he hasn't fought that much, and he's kind of had some ugly performances, even in wins. Now this Kawe Fernandez, who I honestly I don't know a ton about. He's quietly had 2 UFC fights. He is similar to Guram, is also a pretty good striker and got a little bit of a mean streak to him. I feel like he likes fighting, obviously, but like he likes slugging it out a little bit. But he's also tough to find. I mean, he's hard to hit. It seems like he lost a split to Mark Jacasey his first fight. The difference was the wrestling. Jacasey's turned into a wrestler at this point, and then he just I don't think he got hit one time against Muhammad Yahya. He kicked him in the calf 20 times. Yahya couldn't hardly stand anymore, and he knocked him out. So I don't know. Guram's interesting to me because he's always seemed to have a lot of hype, but he like doesn't fight.
Yeah,
it's like, the what could be type thing. So
I wonder if the guys like that, because he's not the only one. There's several guys out there that are like main training partners. I wonder if they're making money that way, enough money where they're just happy and they don't necessarily have to do that. But when funds start running a little low or something, they hop in. All right, let me get a fight.
I mean, I definitely can see that because he's in everybody's corners. All these guys I've been mentioning, he corners them. But I don't know. I'm not real high on him. When he is looking good, he is pretty nasty with the kicks. But we've seen him drop the ball as a big favorite before. Kawe Fernandez might upset him again here. We'll see.
Maybe.
All right, go ahead.
It's tough. Let's see. Yeah, I did mine on. Now I always struggled with this guy's name because it looks like it's Loner, but it's pronounced, at least from what I've seen, everybody pronounce it. It's Lonnie or Lowney.
I thought it was Loner.
Yeah, I thought it was Loner Kavanaugh, but it's pronounced even in like London card stuff like that. It's pronounced Lonnie Kavanaugh. This guy, obviously Contender Series guy, won with the great knockout. I mean, that left hook that landed knocked that one guy out. What was his name? Antoine Ho. Yeah, because I think Antoine Ho was undefeated as well.
Yeah, 6-0.
Yeah. He came out. This guy has star written all over him. I mean, the way he looks, the way he talks, he's cocky. I love every bit of it. He's crisp with his hands. He's got power for days. He does get to the point where sometimes he leaves himself to get hit. And, in his past fight, I believe against Ochoa, he actually did get hurt in that fight. Like, I might have got stunned or dropped. But this guy is another guy. I know I've been preaching about these Contender Series guys and the prospects and everything. But this guy is one of those guys where I think he could have Kevin Vallejo's like type stardom, in his future. I mean, the guy is loves to battle. He'll get up in your grill. Not afraid of a war. Could be to his detriment. Hopefully not. But he's a guy that I think with the lack of stardom that the UFC that we've talked about in the past is starting to have, I think it's he's going to be one of those bright spots, I think, that people could get excited about to get on that train early. I know a lot of people don't like to jump on a train early because maybe they are just a casual fan and they don't dive into it as well as we do or anything, or the hardcores, as they would say. But this guy, I mean, the guy he's fighting in Felipe dos Santos, this has possibly could have like fight of the night on it written all over it, because dos Santos is a gamer. He will want to get up in there and throw, I mean, everything. They might just stand in the middle and go.
He gave Koppa probably one of his toughest fights.
Exactly, yeah. And he's tough as nails.
Yeah.
Because he got hurt in that fight. Dos Santos came back and hit Cop a couple times, in making it competitive. Obviously, his last fight he lost against Andre Lima, who is another up and comer.
Yeah, we saw how good he is.
Yeah. So I mean, this guy, I think too, has star in him. Maybe not as high. I'm not as high on Dos Santos as I am Kavanaugh or like an Andre Lima. But I love the fact that this guy's a gamer. He'll get up in your face. This fight, I think, really could have like fight of the night, or someone might be going to sleep in this fight.
Yeah, I'd say, I'm assuming Dos Santos is probably a pretty big dog, plus 310. I think the aura factor with Kavanaugh is definitely
true. I don't know if it necessarily should be that wide. But
minus 395,
because I think I think as we get closer to fight time, it might be bet down a little bit, because
he's fought two really good guys in the UFC.
Exactly.
Lost to two really good guys.
Exactly. And I think the aura might wear off in the sense of people, oh, okay, the better start researching a little bit. Oh, okay, this guy, he can get hit. He's gamer to fight.
Yeah.
I think this one's going to be a fun one. I'm excited for both fighters, but I think Kavanaugh might just have it. Dos Santos tough, got a chin, recovers well, but
a little hittable.
Yes, a little. I think
for a guy like Kavanaugh,
for sure. Yeah, he's a little bit more hittable, because Kavanaugh sometimes leaves himself open, because he definitely does. You can feel it. He's got that. I don't want to say like cockiness to it, but it is like a cockiness. He's confident in there, and sometimes gets a little too confident. And we saw in the last fight he got touched up a little bit, but he came back and beat Ochoa. So that one, I'm excited for. I think that's a fight to look out for, and see what happens there. I think that's got maybe fight of the night on it.
Other than that, I mean, on the prelims, some okay names. I mean, like Nathan Fletcher was on The Ultimate Fighter this past season.
Mm-hmm.
Pooja Tomar, I believe, is the first Indian fighter to win a fight in the UFC. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, really?
I thought she should have lost, but they gave her the decision. Christian Leroy Duncan, he'll do some MVP spinny stuff. Marcin Tybura, been around forever. My boy Jai Herbert, the Black Country banger. He's fighting Chris Padilla. That's a tough one.
That one's going to be a tough one.
Padilla's good too. Wow, I'm surprised that Herbert's actually the slight favorite. That's interesting. Now, on to the main card. You ready for the main card?
Yes, sir.
So I got, the way it worked out this week is I got the first three fights, at least according to the order we have, in a row. So, let's start with Nathaniel Wood versus Morgan Charrier. I mean, this one is so interesting to me, because I think these two guys are actually very similar.
Mm-hmm.
They're both, I think, good boxers, just good strikers in general. They're both fast, athletic dudes that I think rely on that athleticism when it comes to striking. But they both kind of struggle. They're both like good grapplers, but they also struggle when people are good grapplers.
Mm-hmm.
They also sometimes struggle with the fight IQ side of things. Nathaniel Wood, I mean, example, his last one out against Daniel Pineda, who Pineda really shouldn't have been in there with him, honestly. Pineda was just, I think, probably just paycheck fight for him.
Mm-hmm.
Nathaniel Wood just beat him up. I mean, he could really do no wrong on the feet for the most part, but he still found a way to end up on his back with his arms stretched out, almost got Americana. He gets caught in these positions sometimes. Naimov, who's really not like some Dagestani wrestler, was able to really out-grapple him and win that way. Charrier, similar. I mean, we saw Chepe do what Chepe does against him, clinch, Just keep working the takedowns. I haven't rewatched that one since. At the time, I thought Morgan should have won, but it was close.
Chad won.
Even Chad, you're gonna say that no matter what. And then again, similar to Nathaniel Wood, Morgan Charrier fought Gabriel Miranda last time out, knocked him out, but was playing around a little bit in the clinch and taking him down.
Yeah,
Miranda's only thing is grappling. I mean, that's like all he does. But I think these two guys fighting each other will be really fun because they're both good strikers. They have knockout power. Nathaniel Wood, I think, he's a guy that's a tweener. I mean, we've seen pictures of him when he cut to 135, how terrible he looked. But he's so small at 145. It's weird. He's like the exact wrong size. Charrier is going to be big and athletic and strong. Nathaniel Wood probably going to be a little faster, I would say. But Nathaniel Wood, another thing that I think I'd like and don't like at the same time is that he likes to get in the pocket and just, I'm going to be faster than you in here. But it seems like he can get clipped sometimes. Yeah. We've seen him get dropped and hurt bad. Morgan, he's a little kind of nonchalant there sometimes, just let you throw punches, and
he's one of those guys that has like I'm so comfortable, kind of vibe to him that almost gets him in trouble sometimes.
Now, for those of you who don't know Morgan Charrier, if you see his record, you're going to be like, wow, this guy's not very good. He's 20-10-1. He's literally fought, I think he's 6-3 in Cage Warriors. Now, he's fought some tough dudes in Cage Warriors. Jordan Vucenic, who we'll talk about later. Paul Hughes, who we just saw probably beat Nurmagomedov. I mean, and I don't know every detail of every single guy that he's fought in Cage Warriors, but that's a really good organization. He's fought in that organization 9 times. Plus, a lot of his losses, I mean, he lost 3 in a row. Yeah. Real early in his career. So, point being is that he's a gamer. He's gone 5 rounds with Vucenic. He's fought tough guys on the regional scene. And so he's got a lot of losses, yes, but he's not he's not bad.
No,
he's good.
No, he's good. And he's still just getting the feel for MMA still.
Yeah. And I think, weirdly enough, I think these guys are in a really similar situation, even though Nathaniel Wood's 8-3 in the UFC and has way more UFC fights than Charrier. But I think this is kind of both their last real shot to be potentially a top 10 guy. Whoever loses this, even though Charrier is only 2-1 in the UFC, I believe. I think if Charrier loses this, he's probably just going to be kind of a outside the rankings guy, unless maybe goes on a 5-fight win streak or something. But I think that really hurts his chances. Same thing with Nathaniel Wood. We've seen him. I think people had really high hopes for him.
I'm a Nathaniel Wood fan. And
he just seems to. He's lost to good guys too. I mean, John Dodson, Casey Kinney. Casey Kinney's not a good person, but a good fighter. And Naimov, I'm high on Naimov.
Yeah,
but I don't know. I think the UFC and the fans have kind of expected more out of Nathaniel Wood. So if he loses this, I think that it probably hurts him more. I think okay, he's not ever getting there.
Yeah,
but I don't know. I think it's interesting. I think the stakes are pretty high. I think their styles are similar. I think we maybe see Charrier go to the wrestling a little bit because he has done that in the past, and we've seen Nathaniel Wood get just out-muscled at this weight class.
And he's going to be the smaller guy, so we'll see. I think that one too, that's a fun one to watch. Definitely tune into that. That might have some fireworks in it. Just how evenly matched in a sense of their fighting style is.
Who do you think is the favorite?
The favorite?
Yeah.
Oh.
This surprised me, so that might give it away.
Wood is?
No, he's a dog. I thought he would be the favorite, probably.
I was thinking Charrier was going to be the favorite because of. Yeah, that would make it more surprising if Wood was for me because of Charrier's style is similar to Wood's, but Charrier's the bigger guy.
Yeah,
and obviously got that power, which they both do. But Wood, we've seen he hasn't. And it could be due to the fact that the guys he's fought, he obviously
he's fought tough guys.
Yeah, it could be the level of competition. So
yeah,
I'm excited for that one.
All right, on to my next one. We just mentioned him, Jordan Vucenic versus Chris Duncan. It's super weird because Vucenic came in his debut short notice and fought Guram Kutaladze and lost a decision. Who I talked about him earlier, and now Guram is the first fight of the night, and Vucenic's on the main card. So that kind of tells you what the UFC thinks of Vucenic, because he's a former Cage Warriors featherweight champ. He beat Morgan Charrier. He's beat Paul Hughes once. I think they're 1-1. I'm pretty sure. And just he's 9-1 in Cage Warriors.
Yeah, and Cage Warriors that's a motherfucker of a promotion. Obviously a lot of people are coming to UFC from there. So
now I heard about Jordan Vucenic a long time ago, because there's a channel on YouTube called Siam Boxing, and I'm pretty sure I've showed you this, and it's like a really well filmed and it looks really good, and it's guys hitting Thai pads, like really good fighters, and a lot of them are based out of England. And I saw Vucenic on there a long time ago. I was like, who's this ginger with like tattoos from head to toe all over his face now too? I mean, he's covered in just black tattoos, who can strike, and turns out it's him, and he's in the UFC now. But he's a good striker. But man, that fight against Guram, like he worked the grappling a little bit too. He got a little bit tired in that one. It was short notice, kind of get it. He's gone 5 rounds, and he's basically switched to lightweight. I mean, he way early on in his career, he was a lightweight, and I'm pretty sure all through his Cage Warriors run, he was a featherweight, including being the champ there. His last Cage Warriors fight, he went up to lightweight, and his UFC debut, lightweight. I kind of thought since it was short notice, he'd probably go back down to featherweight, but he's staying a lightweight. So this is a lightweight. He's fighting Chris Duncan. Chris Duncan out of Scotland. He's just a brawler.
Yeah.
Barroom brawler. we talked about this before.
He is called The Problem.
The Problem. He has one of the craziest Contender Series wins ever. He was on death's door and one punch Charlie Campbell.
Yeah, that to this day that'll go as one of the best.
And that was his second, I believe, his second Contender Series appearance. Yeah, he lost to Vyacheslav Borshev also on the Contender Series. But like I said, junkyard dog. I mean, he's not really that great at anything, honestly.
Yeah,
he's kind of been going to the grappling more now. He submitted Balaji Oki, who he literally, I don't know if you remember this, but Oki took him down, which surprised me. Locked up a guillotine, and he literally let go and was like starting to work for position, and Oki was asleep on top of him. And the ref let it go for like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
So he can grapple. I believe he's an American Top Team guy now. He moved from Scotland to American Top Team, but he's just kind of well-rounded. But I think, in my opinion, Vucenic is going to be the much better, faster striker. He needs to get the volume going. Last fight, again, short notice. Not enough volume for me. But I think he can probably put Chris Duncan away. We've seen Duncan's been knocked out in the first round in the UFC before, so
I could see it too. Just Duncan, the way he fights, he allows himself to get in these positions to just get starched.
Yeah, he's just a little too wild.
But he's a gamer. He finds a way sometimes, man.
I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility that he can make Vucenic quit just by going forward, beating him up, mixing the martial arts. I'm not counting that out completely, but I just think he's too hittable. I think Vucenic's too good on the feet and could also take him down as well. If Oki can take him down, I think Vucenic can take him down personally. Yeah. But all right, last one for me: Molly McCann versus Alexa Tainara. Molly needs to get out of my life. I've never been a Molly fan. I know the listeners are probably going to hate me for saying that.
That's the meatball, man.
I mean, she's fun and interesting, but I've never been high on her skills whatsoever. Obviously, coming off of a loss in England, I mean, every time she fights is in England, basically, but to Bruna Brazil, who really pieced her up, kind of, on the feet. Kept hitting her with that knee. Molly would duck her head and just eat a knee over and over. Tainara, I don't know a ton about her. I know she beat Rose Conceição in the Contender Series. I watched that fight back. She's real tight with Amanda Ribas. She trains at that Ribas family gym, and actually Conceição and her had actually trained together previously at that gym a little bit. She's just long, kind of talk some shit. But she struck a lot in that fight.
Yeah,
that Casey fight. But 6 of her 11 wins are submissions. She only has 1 TKO win. So I don't know. I'm not gonna act like I'm an expert on her at all, but she's a minus 185 favorite here. I think she's probably gonna beat Molly, and probably gonna do it by grappling.
Yeah, I mean, Molly, sometimes, dude, she's tough. Sometimes she's one of those that finds a way sometimes, or comes up with a spinning back fist.
We've seen Molly clip tall, lengthy Brazilian girls before.
She'll get up in their grill and then just starch their ass into the shadow realm.
I don't have a massive take on this one, but
if Molly wins, that place explodes.
Yes. Now, I don't really... I believe this was kind of short notice. A little bit. It's actually... Okay, so she's actually not... She's literally the same height as Molly, so not...
Molly's a short, stocky...
Yeah.
Short arms, feels like.
Yeah, so Molly was supposed to fight Estela Nunes.
Okay.
Another Brazilian. Nunes had a visa issue. I don't remember exactly how long this fight's been put together. I think it's been like a decent chunk of time. Long enough for Tainara to be a minus 190 favorite already.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Molly's just... We know what she's good at and what she's not.
Yeah, she's on that card because she's from London and she's got the crowd there, and her and Patty and
Liverpool, just to...
Or Liverpool, sorry.
So the crowd doesn't get mad at you.
My bad.
But yeah, I think, no pun intended, I think Tainara can fill her holes. Can fill Molly's holes and win.
Oh, Meatball. I like Meatball. I like the personality.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. The whole, her and Patty tandem thing. It cracks me up. And she's exciting in the sense she engages with the crowd. And I love that. And I think it has to do with, the London crowd is great. I would love to go to a card there. Yeah. That would be great. But I don't know. Molly, sometimes she pulls something out of her ass and she could do it. We'll see. I think it'd be a fun one.
Yeah, I'm not putting it past her completely, but all right, you got 3 in a row now.
Yep. All righty, we got the Trailblazer. My first one. He's fighting a long time no see, Gunnar Nelson.
Well, it was a long time no see.
Yeah,
he actually fought not too long ago now.
It's been over been a year and a half.
Okay, I guess, but it was longer than that.
Yeah, or almost a year and a half. But it was a long time. Yeah, you're right. But this is... Obviously, we know Kevin Holland. He's a gamer. Fight anybody at any weight class. It doesn't matter. To me, this is... what kind of Kevin Holland are we going to get? I get the feeling that Kevin Holland is there for a paycheck. He's like, all right, I'll just make as much money as I can, not get beat up, because I know... Like, he's 13-10 in the UFC. He's fought everybody. He's a good striker. He's sneaky on the ground, opportunistic. The main thing is just, what are we going to get with him? Is it going to be some weird rib injury? Is it going to be, I don't know, like you get taken down immediately and you're subbed within the first minute and a half? Something like that. He is fighting a guy in Gunnar Nelson who has fought a lot of... he's 10-5 in the UFC. He's fought a lot of notable names. Obviously, his last win was, I think, Barberena. Yeah, he armbarred Barberena. Gunnar's gonna... His thing is subbing people. He loves doing that. He will stand and bang. But if it's going to go to the ground, that's what he wants. That's what he likes. Especially when it gets into like a scramble... Something like that. That's what he likes. Obviously, it's been a year and a half. What are we going to see from Gunnar? He's fighting a guy who's active all the time. It seems like he's fighting every other weekend. This one's tough for me. I think it really depends on what kind of Kevin Holland are we going to get. Are we going to get
Isn't it weird that the most active fighter in the UFC is more of a question mark than the guy that hardly ever fights in this fight? That's just so crazy.
Yeah. It's wild to me. This one's fun because you get to see Gunnar come back into it. I wish he would be more active, because he's a good fighter. He's been around. He's fought some names. Are we gonna get a Kevin Holland that is bouncing around and striking and talking his shit? You know, the one we saw in 2020, or are we gonna get the one that's kind of like
he's definitely gonna be talking? But
yeah,
I don't know.
You know, we just never know what's gonna happen. It seems like something always fucking weird.
This is also coming back down to 170. He's literally fought at 85 like 3 times in a row.
Yeah.
And this is back down to 170.
Yeah, and I think he's just a guy, if he sees UFC come up on his caller ID, he's like, yes. Yeah. I don't care. Whatever weight class, we're going to do it. Just write me the check. And I think that's probably where he's at. Sure, he's a little older. I think, obviously he ain't going to be anywhere near a title or nothing like that. He's just going to be the guy that they can call upon. And, hey, we got a guy who's want to come out of the woods now. He's out of his hole. Yeah. He wants to fight. You want to fight him? Sure. Why not? Just make sure there's some zeros on there on my check. This one's tough for me because really it's a toss up. Really, I think depends on what we get with Holland. Gunnar's obviously slick on the ground. Holland's sneaky. Like I said, he's opportunistic when it comes to stuff like that. He's probably the better striker. Maybe even a little quicker on the ground. Gunnar probably has the edge on him.
The grappling.
The grappling. So. But
at least the wrestling.
Yeah, we'll see what goes down. This one, I mean, it'd be fun in the sense you're going to see Gunnar, Gunny, and the Trailblazer go at it. But
I think a big problem here is that yes, there's a 4-inch height difference. Holland being 4 inches taller, but Gunnar's like he's got that Connor bounce, where he's not easy to find. So that might mitigate that height difference a little bit. And obviously, if he's going to wrestle and take him down, then that height
this
doesn't matter.
One's it's frustrating because Kevin Holland is fun to watch when he's on, but sometimes at least the last few times and he's fought some killers, but I've been kind of just like, oh, Holland's fighting. Okay, what are we going to get here?
Hard to get excited about him anymore. Yeah, he's decent little dog. I mean, plus 125, so not too bad. I actually kind of thought it'd be wider, but
yeah, I'm surprised by that as well. That's I don't know, that one I'm excited for in the sense that I'm a fan of Holland, I'm a fan of Gunnar, but it's all up to Holland.
Yeah,
what are we gonna see from him?
I think we're getting. I don't know. It just seems Holland just kind of. Word association when I think of Holland is disappointment. Like
and I hate to do that. Some of his
fights are just so disappointing.
Yeah, especially when he talks too. He talks all of that shit and all that stuff, and it just you put up a pooper of a fight, And I get it. It's a fight game. That's how it goes. But that's just how I feel about it. And he's just going to be that middle of the track kind of guy. So that's about it for that one.
All right, co-main. Jan Blachowicz, number 3. Carl Solberg, number 6. We haven't seen Jan in forever.
No, we haven't. This one, I mean, he doesn't have a whole lot of time, even though he doesn't really look it.
He's old.
But he's old. 42 years old.
July 29th, 2023, that split decision loss to Alex Pereira.
Yeah.
That was the last fight.
Yeah. And that one, arguably he could have won, taking him down and all that shit. But we don't have a whole lot of time left on the clock here for Jan.
42.
And he's talking about wanting to be a champ still. So he might be one of those guys that fights till 45 or, do the whole Randy Couture thing and fight to your 150. But, I mean, as Joe Rogan would say, he's made of wood. This guy's tough. He can crack. He's got power. He'll kick your leg off. He's got the drive. I could see it. He's fought the best of the best. He's there, but he's fighting a young dog, younger dog, I should say, in Olberg, the Black Jag. The guy's 11-1, 7-1 in the UFC. This guy's got power for fucking days. Will stand and strike with you. Has shown a gas tank issue. in recent fights, Ozdemir fight, the gas tank kind of hold up when he was starting to beat the hell out of Ozdemir.
Yeah.
That's the one I thought that was going to be an issue. Obviously, starched Menifield in 12 seconds?
12 seconds.
Yeah, 12 seconds in the fight before that. But there's been some issues like in the
Kennedy
one. That one
is bad.
Yeah,
but that was debut.
Yeah, he got debut, got tired. I know against Kennedy, who's also a dog. Like that guy can fight like a motherfucker. But he went on after that to go and just knock people the fuck out. Ihor Pateria, Dawon Jung. This guy Carlos. We're big fans of him. Like the guy can strike. He does leave his hands down. Loves it down. He bounces around. He can kick well. He's athletic. He's strong. Obviously, I said the gas tank could be a little bit of an issue, but I think maybe after the Ozdemir fight, he might have figured it out. Like, okay, maybe don't blow my fucking wad in the first round.
Olberg's really patient too.
Yes, he's learned that. I don't know if. I think Jan's probably going to try and test the waters here. And
grappling?
Yeah, grappling. Yeah. He's going to... I don't know how well he's going to do against Jan.
50% takedown accuracy for Jan.
Yeah,
that's huge. I mean, that's a big number.
Yeah, I mean, Jan is... when he's got he's got his mind made up on it, he's relentless. He'll keep going.
83% takedown D, Olberg.
Yeah, so I mean, we'll see. Obviously, I think Jan's gonna grapple and try and take him down to mitigate the power of Olberg. We'll see how tired Olberg gets. This one obviously has fireworks written all over it in the sense of if Olberg lands, then we're off to the races.
Yeah,
big up and coming star, especially if he beats a guy like Jan. Say he comes out and knocks out Jan. That's a big thing because I don't think Jan's been.
Yeah, he has
in a while.
Oh yeah, no, he's been finished 4 times, but he was not good down a weight class.
Yeah,
I guess he got RNC'd by Glover. That's right.
Yeah, that was when Glover won the
so that was in 2021, and then before that it was 2019 against Thiago Santos, which was wasn't that at? No, that was at light heavyweight.
Yeah. So, yeah, so I mean, he obviously hasn't been knocked out a bunch or anything like that. I think Carlos has got to kind of be on his bike here a little bit, move around, be patient, wait for his shots. I'd love to see him to get the win. Obviously, seeing a younger guy get like that, especially a guy, as we said before, as good looking as him. So he's the guy's got a lot to show for. I think this is definitely going to be his toughest matchup. That's a step up. Every fight, like Ozdemir was his toughest matchup. Beat him, did it, and beat him pretty handily. Pieced him up, did his thing. Gas tank held up. I think he'll do all right against Jan. I predict a win here for Olberg. Although I think it's going to be tough, and the main thing to look at is probably that gas tank when Jan decides I'm going to put on my wrestling shoes.
Yeah, Jan, he can make it gritty. It's only 3 rounds, which definitely helps Olberg, I think, a little bit.
Yes.
But yeah, I don't know. Jan he just has a way of just even on the feet, he can hang around.
Yeah, he's got power too, and with Olberg keeping his hands around, we'll see if he'll be a little too quick for Jan. I don't know, but definitely a step up. I'm looking forward to it. I'm pulling for the Jag.
All right, main event. Number 1 ranked Leon Edwards, first fight back since his loss to Bilal.
This one
he's got Sean Brady, who's number 5. This has been moved around a little bit, and it's supposed to be Leon. It was supposed to be Leon and Jack Della.
Yep, and then Della got booked for Bilal. Yeah. This one's tough for me in the sense of obviously Leon's looking to come back and get his title back, because he's doing the whole I fought at 5 a.m. That's the reason why I lost. It was a good fight, he says, but really
he always looks like he just got out of bed. Every fight. It's not just 5 a.m.
Yeah, it's just half asleep kind of fighting. He's so damn patient. He just okay with that. And I don't know. I think Sean will stand with you. Sometimes Sean on the mat It's one of the best in the world. But sometimes he does fall in love, and he kind of fell in love with it against Bilal, even though he probably wasn't going to take Bilal down in the sense of, because Bilal is Bilal.
That was the big problem there.
Yeah, that's his wheelhouse. Is he going to be able to take Leon down? I think so, because Leon, Bilal probably put the, and Kamaru put the I went dead on what word I'm looking for.
Blueprint.
The blueprint. There you go. The blueprint on how to take Leon on is pressure, get in his face, and then take him down. Get him against the fence, put him down.
Yep.
Sean's probably going to do that, or at least try to.
I almost feel like Sean's a better wrestler at this point than Usman.
Yeah. He's younger. Obviously he's better on the mat than Usman and BJJ and all that stuff. I think that's what the game plan is. Sean does sometimes fall in love when he's like, all right, I think I can strike. I think that'd be a mistake. I think you got to go put some pressure on Leon, get in his face, take him down. And I'm going to go with Sean on this one because of that fact of I think he's going to take him down. I could see him subbing Leon.
I think just do what Bilal did.
Yeah, just get up in his grill.
Easier said than done, but I think Sean has the ability to do that.
Yeah. Because Sean himself, if Leon wants to do it, he's got to pressure Sean.
Yeah.
Because that's what Bilal did.
Yeah.
Obviously, Leon doesn't have the skills in stopping a takedown like Bilal does, but Leon's got to probably turn up the gas a little bit more on this fight, have some urgency behind himself, especially if he wants to get back to that belt.
Yes.
And then Sean's looking at, I beat Leon, I got a shot at the belt next.
That's the number one guy. I mean, literally number one.
Yeah, he's like, I got the winner of
Bilal Jack Della.
Yeah. So
luckily, I think regardless of who wins the Bilal Jack Della, I don't think we're doing a rematch. So
yeah,
I think they're like, if Bilal loses, they're like, thank God.
Yeah.
So
yeah, the UFC, Bilal won it. He's not the most exciting guy. He's not the most loved, around the UFC and the fans. But he's a champ. You got to beat the champ, to be the champ. So I think Sean gets it done versus Leon. I could see it honestly kind of early. I'm not saying first round, but I could see it late second. Him getting a sub in there.
I think that Bilal loss for Sean was the best thing that's ever happened to him.
Yes.
And I think he said that type of stuff too, but he's not, I'm not like in love with his striking, but he can hang.
Mm-hmm.
And look what he did to Burns last time. He just dominated him.
Oh yeah.
And Burns is like a IBJJF champ or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like completely grapple effed him.
Yeah, he just did what he wanted, and obviously walked through Kevin Gastelum too as well. And
yeah,
it's Sean. This is his moment. He needs to rise to the occasion. He's going against a tough guy, champion in Leon, who's beaten some of the best, and there's a little bit of a blueprint out there. And let's see if either Sean goes at it and see if Leon has adjusted or made adjustments. I don't know. I don't think so, but we'll see. If Sean falls in love with his hands, then it could be a problem. Or if he can't take Leon down, then we're looking at some issues.
Yeah.
But I think he'll be able to get the job done.
Yeah, I'm with you. I like Sean a lot, and I'm definitely rooting for him. And yeah, I think he can just do what Leon or do what Bilal did basically.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else on that card?
No, I'm excited. It'll be a fun card. London crowd's always great. I think it's going to be a.
And by the way, this starts at noon Central Time, so wherever you're at in the world,
yeah,
do the math.
It's better than 5 in the morning, so no excuses there, Leon.
Well, but it'll be probably 5 in the morning there.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I guess hopefully you prepare to get your sleep in or something.
I guess don't fight in your hometown every fight.
Yeah,
maybe.
like move around. They make planes for a reason.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to hammer through this. There's some other events this weekend, some good ones. And I say this weekend, but the first one I'm going to talk about is this week. It's on Wednesday. FFC 88. So James Lontop, and this is on UFC Fight Pass, by the way, on Wednesday. James Lontop, who we saw in the UFC, he went 0-3, unfortunately. I actually liked him. I thought he could be decent, but his last fight, he lost to Ruffy.
Mm-hmm.
He got posterized by Ruffy a little bit.
Yeah.
His first fight outside the UFC back in Peru, where he's from. He's fighting for the interim welterweight title against 12-7 Yuri Nellis. On Friday, Cage Warriors 186 in London on UFC Fight Pass. The featherweight title is being fought for 12-3-1 Harry Hardwick versus 12-5 Javier Garcia. And then also at the co-main event at middleweight, Will Curry versus Eli Aronov. Will Curry was on the Contender Series. He was a British guy that ran around, only threw kicks.
Yeah.
So he lost that was against Jordan Santos, who we saw fight a couple weeks ago. This is his first fight since the Contender Series. And an Eli Aronov is the Israeli tank. His last fight was in August of 2023 against Zach Reese on the Contender Series, and he got armbarred. So August 2023 to March, almost April of 2025.
Jeez.
So, also on Friday, Shooto Brazil 128 in Rio de Janeiro, also on UFC Fight Pass, lightweight title. 26-17, Thiago Silva versus 13-11, Guilherme Duin, and also the vacant strawweight title, Ana Vitoria versus Fabiola Nascimento.
Fabiola.
So two title fights in Shooto Brazil. Get excited. Also on Friday, BKFC Fight Night, Philly on Triller. Not really a ton of names I know on this one. The only one I know is Dustin Pegg. Mm-hmm. He was on the Ultimate Fighter like 100 years ago. It was on I don't know, it might have been on the Uriah Faber Cruise one, maybe. I could be wrong about that, but still around, still going. And he's fighting Andrew Angelcore, the main event, BKFC Philly on Friday. Moving on to Saturday, LFA 204, they literally just don't stop. LFA, every weekend they do an event. This one's in Mashontucket, Connecticut on UFC Fight Pass. Heavyweight title, Hugo Cunha versus 5-1 Denzel Freeman. Cunha, first title defense. His last fight, which was actually after he won the title, was on week 2 of the Contender Series against Rizvan Kuniev.
Really?
That we talked about earlier. And he got TKO'd with 1 second left in the first round.
Ouch.
And so now we see what Kuniev's fighting Blades. So he could have just, if he would have beat him, he'd be fighting the top 10 guy. Instead, he's defending his title at LFA. And then the guy he's fighting, Denzel Freeman, he was 1-1 in PFL, 1-0 in LFA, and he lost to Johnny Eblin as an amateur.
Oh, well, that's not a bad loss, I guess. Eblin's a motherfucker.
Yeah.
When's he going to be in the fucking UFC?
Eblin?
Yeah.
Never.
He needs to be.
Probably never. I don't know. He's still probably around 30, 31.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if they're going to let go of him.
He needs to just get the fuck out of there.
Also on this card at lightweight, 13-6-1. Ednilson Santos versus 8-4 Dylan Mantello. Ednilson, they've actually both lost twice in the Contender Series. No, sorry, wrong. Okay, Santos, he's coming off a decision win over Camwella Kirk in LFA. Who Camwella Kirk is a UFC vet. Mantello's lost twice in the UFC or in the Contender Series, and he's like first team all name in Contender Series. The guys he's fought, Kanan Khrushchevsky, he lost to him rear naked choke, and he lost by rear naked choke to Ahmed Hassanzadeh, who's fighting in Kansas City against Evan Elder. So first team all name for opponents. That's a really long title, but what else? Also on here at lightweight, 16-6-1 Joe Giannetti versus 16-9 Leandro Lindberger. Giannetti was on the Ultimate Fighter in 2018 on the Stipe versus DC season, and he lost in the finale to Mike Trezano, who was in the UFC for a while. Also on this one, light heavyweight, there's a bunch of decent ones on this LFA card. 11-5 Justin the Fort Sumter versus 15-9 Luis Henrique Barboza. Sumter 1-2 in Bellator, 0-2 in the Contender Series. He's an old school Contender Series guy. Ian Heinisch in 2018 lost to him. Lost to Maki Patolo, coconut bombs in 2019. And then this Luis Henrique Barboza was 2-4 in the UFC. Lost to just complete cans like Francis Ngannou.
Yeah, who's that guy? Never heard of him.
Marcin Tybura, Arjun Buhler, Ryan Spann. Those were his 4 UFC losses.
Ouch.
And then last but not least, on Sunday at least Sunday in our part of the world. 172 from the Saitama Super Arena. Shout out to Pride.
Mm-hmm.
There's 3 MMA fights on this one, 8 kickboxing fights, and 3 Muay Thai fights. Rod Tang's the main event. Tao Wen Chai is the co-main. Superlex on this one. Adriano Moraes is fighting for the bantamweight title. Vacant bantamweight title. I'm assuming Demetrius, the one that he vacated. Against Yuya Wakamatsu.
Yuya Wakamatsu. All right.
And then we get a quadrilogy between 48 and 11 Shinya Aoki.
Oh, shit.
Shout out to old school UFC. Versus 23 and 13 Edward Folleyang. This is the 4th time they're fighting, and Aoki's already 2-1. So it like almost doesn't even make sense for them to do this, but they're doing it. And that's it for the rest of the events this weekend.
Fucking Rod Tang, dude.
Rod Tang's awesome.
Oh yeah, he's great. I was watching a video and there was like Rod Tang practicing his chin conditioning, and he was just letting this guy fucking. They were sparring, and he puts his hands down, just lets him haul off and clock his ass, and it's not affecting him.
Yeah, he's like 26 years old too.
He's had 1,000 fights.
He's awesome. I like him. I like Tao Wen Chai a lot in the co-main too. He's really good. One's awesome. It's I think we kind of mentioned this last week. It's hard even for people like us to really keep up with it because they have so many belts. They have all your regular weight classes, but then they got kickboxing for that weight class, Muay Thai for that weight class, MMA for that weight class, and sometimes grappling.
Yeah.
And all of them they have title holders for all of them.
They have 40 fights a night. It's fucking nuts.
But it's cool. I like one a lot. Last thing we've gone a long time here, but I want to talk about PFL, and we'll probably, when these cards are actually getting ready to happen, like the week of, we'll probably talk about them more. But they've announced all their tournaments, and they've changed the tournament. It's not really a season anymore. It's like an actual tournament. Like it's just a bracket, 8 fighters in each weight class. And it's not $1 million anymore because it's not a whole year with 1 million guys in it. It's like $500,000 to win now, I think. But they've announced all 6 of their brackets, and I believe the first event's April 3rd, which is coming up pretty soon. But we'll start with heavyweight. So some names of note on here. I mean, Valentin Moldavsky has been around forever, but first round matchup between Alexander Romanov. And Tim Johnson, obviously both UFC vets. Romanov, I'm not a big fan of him. I don't think really anybody was, but I don't really think he deserved to be cut from the UFC, honestly. He wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
But he was cut from the UFC. Linton Vassell and Oleg Popov, that's another one at heavyweight. He's a Bellator guy, been around forever. Moving to light heavyweight, Phil Davis versus Rob Wilkinson, first round matchup. Wilkinson, I believe, won the $1 million in the tournament, maybe twice or maybe once. I know at least once. Antonio Carlos Jr. versus Carl Moore. Carl Moore's like one of the other Irish guys in this organization that's kind of doing big things. Lightweight, Brent Premis and Alexander Shabley. Premis, I think he went to the finals last year and then their deal. Clay Collard's in here. Mark Diakese, we mentioned him earlier, former UFC guy. He's in this. Mads Burnell, he was in the UFC a long time ago. I've always liked him. And then this JJ Wilson kid is like an old school, he's young, but like he's a kid that Bellator spent a long time slowly building up. Yeah. They had him when he was real young in the sport, and he was on prelims all the time. This is a big one. Middleweight. Impa Kasanganay, Fabian Edwards.
First round
matchup. That's Leon Edwards' brother, obviously. Sada Boussies, he's a lot of fun. Dalton Rasta, that's a first round fight. Aaron Jeffrey, he fought in the Contender Series a long time ago. He's got a Ov in the first round, who I'm not familiar with, so that doesn't fare well for him, I don't think. And then women's flyweight, Tyler Santos, Juliana Velasquez, first round. Tyler, she's got to bounce back.
Yeah.
She got pieced up by Ditcheva kind of in an embarrassing fashion.
Yeah.
Liz Carmouche, also in this, no surprise there. She's been over here for a long time. Well, I guess Bellator first, but bantamweight, Magomedov versus Leandro Higo. Jake Hadley, he's a former UFC guy. Yeah. I met him. I got a picture with him. honestly not familiar with everybody in that one. Jesus Pinedo, Adam Borix. Adam Borix was like an old school Bellator guy, been around for a long time. Gabriel Braga, he knocked Marlon Moraes' head off.
Yeah, he did.
Jeremy Kennedy, former UFC and Bellator guy. Movlid Kubuliev, flying knee Damon Jackson. That's an interesting one, actually. I like that matchup. And I believe this is the last one. Welterweight, Jason Jackson, the aforementioned Jason Jackson, versus Andrei Koreshkov. Koreshkov, I cannot believe this guy's still fighting.
It's wild.
He was a Bellator champ forever ago. Other than that, Logan Storley, he's just a wrestler guy. And then Giannis Bikar. I want to talk about this guy for a second because he was on the last season of The Ultimate Fighter.
Mm-hmm.
He got knocked out in like 12 seconds with an elbow, like literally the first strike of the fight by Swiss guy that Dylan liked, Robert Valentin, who ended up winning. Or did he win? I think he lost.
He lost
the finale.
Yeah.
So I felt bad for Bikar because he literally got knocked out with the first strike of the fight, and so I'm glad he's getting an opportunity here in PFL. And so yeah, that's it. I just wanted to mention the kind of the bigger names because I actually think the less they've cut these in half. It was like, or maybe not in half, but it was like 12 fighters or whatever. And it was this whole season, and they'd bring, a guy would get hurt, they'd bring in a new guy. So it was kind of hard to really care about each fighter individually. They've shrunk the roster a little bit, made it an actual bracket. Mm-hmm. So I think we're getting some good fights. Yeah,
kind of the less is more kind of thing going on.
Right.
I don't know, man. I don't know. PFL, I hope this works out, but it's getting hairy over there, with the whole merger thing or, buyout. Their best fighters aren't even on this, and
Patchy Mix should be in here.
Yeah, Patchy Mix, even Usman, Nurmagomedov, he should be in there. Paul Hughes. Yeah. That I think honestly, I don't think it won't be long. It won't be long before we see those guys in the UFC.
Yeah, I think they're in over their head a little bit.
Yeah,
but yeah, first fight April 3rd, and it's the welterweights and featherweights, which is probably two of the better weight classes. So we'll be tuning in for that. But I don't know, any last thoughts on anything, Chad?
I don't think so, man. That's card coming up. It's gonna be fun. I'm excited to watch it. Last week's card, was all right. Younger guys, like I said earlier, it's good to see them get some notoriety, get their names out there. Some of them get starched, but that's the name of the game. But I'm excited.
It'll be fun to watch fights at noon.
Yeah, that'll be a little different.
Won't be fun for Leon fighting at noon our time.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be something going on.
All right. Well, thanks for watching. And all of our socials will be in the description. And let us know what you think of any of these topics we've covered today.
Yeah, hit us up.
Give us a comment. Tell us what you think. And we will definitely see you next time.
Peace.
Later.